And the story continues. Welcome to May 17th at 4:51 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Stock Talk, and I want to thank everyone for subscribing and liking and commenting on these videos. We are closing on 500 subscribers to this channel. That is incredible, and I am very humbled that everyone is finding value, or hopefully most of you find value to these videos. Okay. Let's take a look at SPY, which tracks the S&P 500 on the 180-day chart, and here it is. Let me zoom out for you guys, and we know that there is a support. The support is located around 270.80, and we can just call that 270 to 271, so that if we close under 270 to 271, we know that we're back in a bearish pattern. But remember yesterday, what was the highlight or what was the headline of yesterday's video in terms of the markets? Well, the markets were bullish, right? We were looking for it to continue to go up. And I don't really mind it consolidating at the support. That's actually a pretty nice sign that we'll see higher prices soon. So what exactly happened today? We didn't see significant movement in the markets today. I'm completely fine with that. Given that we had 8 straight days of pretty much just going higher and higher and higher, I don't mind taking a step back, reconsolidating at the support before we find another leg up to around 277. So what exactly happened today? Well, looking at these candles, we can see that here's the support line, right? It's drawn around 271, but it can range from 271 to 270. We tested the support. We retested the support. Every time we tested it, we bounced off of it. This is still a good sign. In my book, this still looks good. Look, we are still above the 20 EMA, and we're keeping above that right now. So far, it doesn't look too bad on the 1-year chart. And I just want to remind you guys, because on the 1-year chart, right, as long as we have continuously make a daily close above this support, we can say that we have broken, my goodness, we have broken over, right? Here's the peak to peak. We have broken over the lower high. You guys can see how we tested it over here. We kind of came back up, and now we pretty much made a flat candle today, and that's perfectly fine, like I said earlier. Let me just remove this line, and let's take a little look at the 3-year chart. So looking at the 3-year chart, we pretty much see something similar, right? Here we go. This still looks pretty bullish for the markets, even though we made a red candle. Look how we're still holding above the support, right, guys? So if I zoom in, we're still holding above the support, and we're on this current uptrend. So looking at the big picture, we're on the uptrend. Looking at the immediate future on the SPY, we're seeing some horizontal action. Again, I don't mind that. How long that will occur, it doesn't really matter to me. What really matters to me is not me keeping, the markets keeping us above 270 to 271, especially on a daily close. So if we start closing under 270, that is a pretty bad sign. Okay, so look out for that. And right, let's take a look at volatility, which goes by the ticker TVIX, and TVIX is telling us a similar story. The story is that, look at the markets. The markets fell. They were negative today, but it held above the support, and this is reflective of how volatility is working right now. Markets fell. We expect volatility to trend higher, but it actually went down nearly 4% today, volatility. Why is that? The reason why that is because we kept over the support. Makes complete sense. So just remember that we are back at the support for volatility, and that we can easily continue to fall. Look how we've pretty much gotten rejected at the 20 EMA over here, and we retested the 20 EMA and got rejected today, and now we're back at the support. The general trend for volatility currently is still downward, so I would not take a position for volatility right now, because the chance of it going down is higher than the chance of it going higher. Here we go. Crude oil futures tracked by 4/CL. So crude oil has been making newer highs pretty much very consistently, especially on a weekly basis. So here we go. Here's crude oil futures on the 180-day chart, and we have established a new support at 70 90. So crude oil is looking extremely bullish once again, and we actually see GUSH pulling to $43.45. In yesterday's video, we talked about how it was, what was the price point? 39 and change, 39.80. And we talked about a couple of numbers, the potential for 40, 41, 42, and 43. What happened? We went over 43 today. So what am I looking for in the near future? Well, it doesn't have to go up immediately, but I'm looking for 44, 45, 46, 47. I'm not predicting the future. I just know, and we all know, that crude oil is trending higher, which means the inverse. So let's take a look at GUSH really quick and look at that. All right, guys. Basically, this we don't even have a resistance just now. It's open trading season. Look at that, right? We looked at the 3-year chart for GUSH such that we broke over the 3-year resistance, and now we're just going higher and higher and higher. So a couple of things I want to just keep in mind. Crude oil continues to be bullish, but we are getting a little overstretched over the EMA line. It can definitely continue to go higher. As a matter of fact, I can see it going higher, right? I just called out those numbers for GUSH, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, up to $47, right? But I just want to, as we trend closer to those numbers, just pay close attention how much we can go higher. So I'm watching for that tipping point. Not yet. There's no confirmation yet, so GUSH is still a great play. Looking at DRIP, which is the inverse of crude oil, we basically zoomed in. There's the trend. So right, as GUSH is pulling higher, we do expect DRIP to pull lower. And I want to show you guys once again on the 1-year chart, these boxes represent the breakdown areas of major supports, and such that every time we broke down significantly. Here's 18% drop. Here's another 18% drop. This was like a 20+% drop. And this time, let's take a look how much we've dropped from the support. We've dropped over 30%, right? No sign of a stop. So look how much we dropped today. I think we made an all-time low, 3-year low again at $6.05. So the story continues. Crude oil becomes bullish. All right, so I think you guys wanted to, I looked at your comments. You guys wanted me to take a look at GC and JNUG, right? JNUG follows gold, so /GC is gold futures. So I want to show you guys on the 180-day chart for gold. And the story really hasn't changed. We were looking for gold to start rebounding, start becoming a little more bullish. The reason is we see it flatlining here. And there's really no identified support right here. You guys can see that we're pretty much, right? There's really no support around this area. It doesn't mean that it can't reverse. It certainly can, but we're just looking for some sort of reversal on gold. So far, we don't have a reversal on gold, so JNUG pretty much was flat today. It didn't do much. So looking at JNUG on the 180-day chart, we can see that it's been making higher lows, but right now, we actually started trending a little slightly below the support line. And just imagine this, right? Look at this scenario. Pretty much what we expect for gold, the expectations are going higher and higher because we have this upsloping trend line. So if gold can't keep up with this, for example, if gold /GC starts going to the 20 EMA and starts dropping again, it can fall below this support. And at this time, you just want to be careful, because if you take a position on JNUG, I wouldn't totally blame you for taking a position right now because we're at the pretty much the support. But just make sure you do have a stop loss set for JNUG. So yeah, I think if you guys looking good. All right, /natural gas or /NG. I was staring at this one today. All right, I have nothing else to do but stare, right? No. So I was looking at this as it was moving. Recall that we said 10:30 a.m. Eastern time was when the natural gas reports come out. So looking at the 180-day chart, looking at the 1-minute chart, where's 1030? So here's 1030, and look what happened. We have some fluctuations, and all of a sudden we have massive spike up. As a matter of fact, we have natural gas spiking over the resistance area. I was in the position called DGAZ, so as natural gas is trending up, DGAZ is pulling down. So you guys might be like, you took the wrong position, right? Bad news, bad position, Kevin. So I was looking at what was happening at the reports. We were right at the 20 EMA. Look at the 180-day chart. We were right at the 20 EMA. I was looking at what might happen. So when I saw it started dipping upon the natural gas, I sold my position at 25.70, pretty much in the middle when it was started dipping. And I was like, this does not look promising, because you can imagine once it started dipping, it's forming this candle like a reversal candle contra, kind of, negating this green candle, and now we're on the way down. What does that say? This says that we made some new lows today. We've been declining lower lows, right? DGAZ has been making lower lows, and it's been rejected at the 20 EMA. This tells me that I don't want to take a DGAZ position because there's a potential for it to go lower, even though we can kind of establish that, okay, well, isn't this a possible trend line, Kevin, right? Isn't this a possible trend line? Aren't we near the support? Can't we buy it? But remember, this is down sloping, and also it's been rejected at the 20 EMA, breaking its support. This would not be a good position to take right now, in my opinion. Does that mean we will go into UGAZ? UGAZ follows natural gas. Well, not necessarily, right? Look how natural gas has a resistance just pulling this line to the right, pretty much at 63.58. We closed today at 62.30. If or when we do start breaking above this resistance, we can keep above that resistance, that's the time I'm looking for to go into natural gas. So I'm still looking for it to come down to the 20 EMA, the light blue line, come back up, retest this resistance, and hopefully if it does break apart the resistance, then I could possibly consider taking a position in natural gas, because you can imagine, look at the 180-day chart. If we break this resistance, there's almost no stop, right? There's resistance is higher up, around after $70. So there's a lot of potential for UGAZ to make up. It's just, we'll see what happens. So that's natural gas. Let's take a look at some of the tickers you guys called out. So, hey, George, JNUG. Yep. So hopefully that JNUG analysis helps you, George. William. Hi, Kevin. Please analyze XLE. Absolutely. I'd be happy to do that for you. So here's XLE. You guys can see that it's broke over its resistance line at 78.14. So let me just take a look at the chart really quick on the 1-year chart. Okay, you guys can see that. Let's look at the 3-year chart. So, right, looking at this chart, we do see some bullish notion on the weekly, right? Because we've broken over this resistance line, I do want to see the 3-year chart, because the weekly opens and closes, just to get a better picture of what is actually occurring, because we're making this, this high, almost 3-year high. We're not there yet, but we're so close. So I'm looking for, look how when we started coming up, right? We had to come down and test. You guys can see these candlesticks kind of test this 20 EMA line, test, and then it started going back up. Look how overextended we are right now. We don't have a major test of the 20 EMA, and at some point, it's gonna come back down at some point and retest the 20 EMA. It's really overextended right now. You guys can see that on the 180-day chart, how overextended we are, right? This is just not a pattern that I like. You guys can see this consolidation pattern. This is a consolidation pattern pretty much at its, is establishing new support at this area before it started going back up. Okay? So, guys, this is something to watch, but because we're so overextended, let's not go into it right now. And this is an energy ETF. Yeah, we know that energy has been bullish the past few months. So just be a little careful if you do invest in this ticker. But I like the uptrend. I'll give you that one. Hey, Jurison. can you break down USLV and JCP? Yeah, so USLV is, we talked about USLV tracks silver, right? It's actually in my watch list somewhere in here. There it is. USLV, and we said that it has an established support around $9.17. We know that it's been making this horizontal pattern. You guys can see that when we start hitting really close to the support, we do get pulled up. But look at this, right? We've been making lower highs in the most recent recent days, and that is not a very good sign, because at some point we're going to get nudged in between this triangle, and then there's going to be a massive move up or down, which I really don't want to take part in. I hope you don't want to. You might be, I mean, you might be able to want to take part in this, but this is a downsloping right, resistance line, and I just don't see enough potential for this to invest in it at this time. I like this horizontal pattern because it was predictable. You guys could have invested in this horizontal pattern, but now that we're back down here, I don't want to take a position right now. You guys can see that how USLV was trying to trend up, and all of a sudden we got this massive sell-off, dipping us back to the support. Just kind of the potential for profit isn't there for this one. All right, I'll do 2 tickers, but generally I do 1 ticker per person. Just FYI, letting you know. Here's JCPenney, right? We talked about JCPenney and how we don't want to hold it during earnings. And we called out JCPenney when it was on the uptrend, when it was consolidating. So this was, where was JCPenney when we talked about it? I believe it was right here when it was consolidating. It went back up, got rejected at the 200 SMA, and now it started trending down. We also talked about how we made a descending triangle, and that at some point over here, we would break the triangle. There's going to be a big move down or up. And we actually had a major move down. Look how we broke below the triangle. And then we all of a sudden broke above, and now we're holding the support right now, but the earnings brought it down again. This is not something I would invest anymore. I think we called it out when it was during the descending triangle area, where I told you guys that JCPenney is no longer an option for me or for us because it's broken below, or it's pretty much squeezed in by the triangle, in which we don't want to take a position anymore. So JCPenney upon earnings went down over 12% today. Certainly not something we would want to go in right now. Maybe short sell, but not something we want to go in. Hi, Ashish. Why did natural gas go up in price today despite the bearish outlook on the weekly natural gas report? It did the same thing last Thursday. I understand there is no one reason. Does the natural gas report even matter? Well, the natural gas report is all about interpretation, right? Sometimes it's about supply and demand. If there's more supply than demand, we expect prices to go down. But it's all about interpretation. It's whether investors think a natural gas needs to get pushed up or down. And it's really, what concerns me is not necessarily the report. What concerns me is what investors think, what people think about the report. That's why when it started trending down, I sold my DGAZ position, right? So that's why these major movements in the ETFs we would look at, we need to closely follow during those reports, because should it start trending down, you can imagine what might happen. Okay. Ben, how's it going? Doing good? EXTR fell pretty good after earnings report missed last week. It is showing some good movement now, and it's climbing. Please take a look at it, get a chance. So I'll do this one. I'll try to do Roku next time for you. Let me just write that down in my trusty sheet of paper. Roku. So looking at EXTR, this is Extreme Networks Incorporated. We see that upon earnings, we had a major sell-off, and we established a 180-day low at $8.10. Now we're starting to trend back up. So, look at what happened here as a reference. It went down, it started trending back up, but how much can you really expect? It got rejected pretty much at the 200 SMA again. Reject at the 200 SMA again. This is a downtrending stock. So at the minimum, or at the maximum, you'll make maybe 10-12%, until your risk becomes extremely great. But it's downtrending, which is something I don't want to go into. Even though it has a potential to retrace back to the 200 SMA, I can still see it get to the blue line before it gets rejected and comes down again. This is just a downsloping trend line, and look at that. Wow. Yeah, right? You can see on the 1 year chart how much it gapped down, and this is just kind of quite incredible how the volume spikes. Look how volume spiked during this gap down. Volume spiked over here. Yeah, that is not something I would like to participate in at this time. I would take in, okay, so hey, Coolio. So you presented an interesting perspective on DGAZ. I would have taken profits on DGAZ considering the last week UGAZ has been pushing up on the reports. So that's definitely a good observation. And I think, so one thing to note is just because something happened on previous reports doesn't mean that it'll occur again on this report, even though it did, right? So one, because we flipped a coin, let's say 10 times, it all landed on heads, doesn't mean the next time it'll land on heads again. So UGAZ, so with DGAZ, yeah, so this is just something to watch. Just, DGAZ went down again because of the natural gas reports, and yeah. So Monkey King, interesting name. Thank you for your videos. You're welcome. I hope you find them useful. Can you please add GBTC and SOXL in your next video? So I'll do one of those. Try to limit to one ticker because these videos are getting really long. I'm very happy to do it for you guys. It's just getting really long. So, okay, this one's Bitcoin, right? We kind of talked about Bitcoin in terms of /XBT or Bitcoin futures. So here's Bitcoin, right? And it's been kind of just flatlining. It's been going, just taking a look at the potential for profit for this one. Again, it's just not there. It's doing this kind of this sloping downwards and sloping upwards on the bottom. And look at this, right? There's just no potential for profit at this time. It's trending like it could break above. It could start trending down. It's just uncertain at this point. Looking at /XBT or Bitcoin futures, right, guys? You guys can see the same thing. It's upsloping here. It's downsloping here. There's just not much movement with Bitcoin right now, and it's not something that I want to participate in. There's no defined movement. CAR, I think we talked about CAR. Hey, JWM, looks to have confirmed as diagonal uptrending support for a second time after the post earning. Do you read this as a good entry point? Yeah, we talked about CAR and how we did have some sort of reversal at this point, that this would be a good position to take. So we actually called it out around here. Actually around this day where we're like, we're pretty much at the support, be careful. And then so you guys can see this trend line. So this trend line that we made earlier, people thought this was the trend line. I even thought this was the trend line, but the trend line actually was like this, which I don't really mind for it to be kind of like this right now. You guys can see that we did hit this, the tail of the candle does hit this trend line, and now we're trending back up. So is this a good entry point right now? So a couple things to keep in mind is we're at the 20 EMA. Look how we got to the 20 EMA nearly, and we kind of came down, but not all the way down before it started trending back up again. I would still wait to see what happens at the 20 EMA. Perhaps it does start trending down back to the trend line, at which you would find yourself a more comfortable entry position. Right now, you could take an entry position, but your potential for profit is lessened because it's already gotten 1/3 of its way up, right? You guys can see pretty much made up 8% already. There's another probably 8%, pretty much made up half almost. So let's wait and see what happens to the 20 EMA. My most comfortable position would be coming down to the support and then reconfirming and then pushing back up. That would be my comfortable. So I wouldn't really enter right now, even though you could. It's just more risky. Hey EJ, I've been watching your videos and they are so helpful. Thank you for all of your effort and time. I took a long position on 1/3 of AYX right before market close yesterday. How do you think it will go? I will buy the rest 2/3 if there's a dip. Okay, let's look at AYX. So Okay, I see what you're seeing right now. So first of all, you guys can see that on the 1 year chart, this is an up kind of sloping stock, right? That's number one. It is making this upslope. But let's look at the 180-day chart on the more near term. On the more near term, we do see it kind of trending downwards. You guys can see this trend downwards. That's a little... It's been keeping this support around this area. So this one, even though it's been trending up on the 1 year chart in the more recent past few months, it hasn't really looked that promising. Now I want to compare this one to PAYC, which we talked about, and how this one is also kind of pretty dangerous right now. I'm closely monitoring this one as well because I have a position in PAYC. It's just kind of dangerous because it's coming down and we've broken under the 200 SMA. It's consolidating at the 200 SMA, but it's making this lower high as well. So with your ticker, it's pretty much doing the same thing. I think you're okay in taking a 1/3 position. That's actually a very smart move on your part because you didn't go all in. So that if it does come down to this trend line, you could think about buying in, right? And $28, you can put in more position there. But right now it's at 32.42. It's pretty much near its high almost. Just be careful on this one because, right, there's no definite trend. It's trending downwards on the lower end. It's trending higher on the 1 year chart. Just be a little careful on this one. Is that it? Oh, I think I promised one person that I would look into nets, right? Here we go. So here is NETS, and we can see that it's been trending downwards. You can see that we got rejected at the 200 SMA. We got rejected at pretty much the 220 EMA. Look how we've got rejected every single time. And now earnings, and now we're back up here. Did we do nets yesterday? I feel like we did a pattern very similar. And we have this volume spike going downward. So I would not go into this one at this time. I think that's it. So once again, I want to thank everyone for watching these videos. Like if you like this video, subscribe to get up-to-date notifications when I post these videos, and you guys should be able to see your tickers being called out, at least analyzed on these videos. Also, if you guys submitted a ticker yesterday and I didn't get to it today, be sure to comment again on the video. So I just look at the previous day's comments. So because I do get a lot of comments. So comment on today's video to see which tickers you want me to look at for Sunday, which is our next stock talk. I hope you guys have a great trading day tomorrow, Friday, and yeah, we'll see what the markets do. Right now, markets we talked about are just consolidating sideways, which I'm perfectly fine with. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and happy trading.